The self-absorbed egomaniac and big-time loser from the future takes power of a mighty nation. Believing his way is the only way to save the future of mankind, he seizes power with the support of an inner circle of equally self-absorbed losers from the future, and vows to make his country great again. After seizing power, he advances his nation to the next super age with technology from the future and conquers the entire world, promising to take it into a new age of prosperity and fortune. And promptly messes it up big time. Irony is, he's still wise and powerful, even though a self-absorbed egomaniac, and he knows exactly who can save his world from the trash heap it has become under his rule.
Siksi mä lähden henkilökohtaisesti johtamaan tätä tehtävää.
Ja se niistä voiton mahdollisuuksista sitten.
What a glorious mess Star Trek is. No, truly, I mean it. It's a beautiful catastrophe of epic proportions, from its humble PC animations to its latest in-production installment. This Star Trek parody has come a long way and has earned its cult status, not only because it's there, but also because it just refuses to go away. And I just love it. Some context is needed, I know, and I wouldn't be my channel if I didn't give you some background to Star Trek. But if you hate the long, boring history lessons I give in this channel, you might want to skip round about here to the main review. But you're missing out if you do. Star Trek's origins are, well, they're simple, let's put it that way. Nothing groundbreaking, nothing particularly original or mind-blowing, and I sincerely doubt that it wasn't even that widely known in its beginnings outside from Star Trek creator Samurai Torson's DOS PC and his mother's basement way back in 1992. The animation for the first 3 shorts were basic. Nothing to put Tobias Rich to shame, to be honest, and the humour was okay. It was funny at times, but even the parody was a little lost without context. But it did improve with age. A lot of age. Especially when it ventured into live action, with Samurai playing the lead role as the overbearing Captain Perk of the SS Kickstart. The green screen was laughable. But bearing this in mind, Sam learned a lot from his mistakes and his building humour, going so far as to poke fun at himself and how pathetic even the toilet humour was.
Oikeesti, paskahuumori on ihan tyhmää.
With this not-so-serious take on his own productions, he was able to make Star Trek its own entity, and continue to bring it forward, slowly improving and keeping somewhat to a disjointed continuing storyline of questioning continuity, and that would give even the most loyal of canon fans a serious headache. But boy, did it work! The basic premise of the Federation, in this case the P-Fleet, being a bunch of bullies looking for planets to make space for humanity, is a pretty simple one. I mean, it's a what-if take if Star Trek was all about the pew-pew rather than the let's talk things out and make friends premise. In short, man-children are leading the P-Fleet, and man, do they show it. Easily bored, lazy, and not above pushing anyone else beneath them around to get what they want. They represent everything that is pretty pathetic about mankind. But at least they work hard to be this lazy, give them that. And Captain Perk is a typical representation of this version of humanity. He knows how to fight, dirty. He also knows how to push people around, and as simple-minded as he is, he can be pretty cunning when he can be bothered. Thing is, he's just high enough on the food chain to keep his head above the water and alert enough to do as he's told, and when it suits him, when he's not taking the kickstart around on a random joyride. I will confess that the previous two Star Trek live-action films compared to In the Pirkinning are, well, they're nothing to write home about visually, and the humour is pretty lowbrow, to say the least. It's not that it's not actually funny, but if you want to watch these films, I want you to understand what to expect. Poor green screen, poor makeup effects, which I will confess actually adds to the silliness of the films, and Sam does take advantage of these failings to varying degrees of success, depending on what your patience level is. In the Pirkinning actually explains its background very, very well, to the point that you really just need to see the previous films as a curiosity rather than a requirement. In fact, In the Pirkinning does right what JJ vs. Star Trek did totally wrong. It rebooted itself in such a glorious style and creatively, and as it always did, very tongue-in-cheek, knowing full well that if it was going to screw up the timeline, it may as well have fun with it.
Päivänä minä vielä.
Te olette nyt vankeja, ja te teette niin kuin minä sanon, tai alkaa sattua!
Onko tää joku vallankumous?
Joo, voisihan sitä niinkin sanoa.
Viimeinkin! Uusi Neuvostoliitto on syntymässä! Kansamme vapautuu kapitalismin ikeen alta! Hurraa!
Mitä helvettiä? Eikö ne nyt pistäkään vastaan?
Ehkä teidän kannattaisi leikkiä mukana.
Niin, mä oon keisari Pirkia. Me rakennetaan täällä Tatsaniassa uusi alus, joka aloittaa uuden mahtavan imperiumin.
Hurraa!
And if there's one thing you can't deny about Star Trek's writers is that they know how to be creative. Perk's seemingly altruistic attempt to save the timeline, of course, serves his own ends, with him taking the role of Emperor of the entire planet, pooling all its resources into creating a fleet similar, but sadly not as advanced as the peep fleet of the future he came from, meaning he created a very nice little fleet, but bankrupted the entire planet in the process into instant poverty as a result. And the limited range of his technology means that his inferior fleet is incapable of finding a suitable, breathable planet within range to colonize and hopefully solve the problem. That said, an accident caused by the fleet idiot may have found the perfect solution to the problem. A rift to another dimension where there are other humans, and Perk obviously knows that a peaceful accord with them will
Valata niiden planeetat!
Ajattelin kyllä ehdottaa kehitysavun pyytämistä.
Joo, mutta sä et sitä päätä. Laivassa taistelu valmiiksi.
or he can go pick a fight with them. I guess that works too. I guess. Maybe. It's a shame that his counterpart in the Babylon 5 parody of a dimension talks too much.
Kimppune paljain käsin! Rajapimeyttä vastaan vedetään tään! Ja vaikka se veisi 1000 vuotta.
Syö valopalloja.
Pimeys laskeutuu.
Tulta.
Me seisomme majakkana yössä. Toisesta ulottuvuudesta tuleiden hippien edessä. Mitä hittoa? Sulkekaa läjäisovet! Aktivoikaa puolustusverkko!
Hyvä puhe, sir.
I guess stupid is transdimensional after all. I certainly won't give it away or tell you who lost or won this battle, but considering the incompetence of both sides, It's certainly not going to surprise you, and there isn't a moment throughout you won't either be bored or not amused by the process. Visually, for its age, Star Trek is one of the most impressive feats of green screen. Sorry, blue screen. Excuse me for a minute, I need to find someone to shout at my research team. Emperor Perk, would you mind?
Fuck off! No mitä?
Mitä?
Thank you. As I said, visually for a movie made at such a low budget, in a garage, in 2005, with blue screen, Star Trek in the Pirkinning is pretty stunning. Do you remember my review on Star Trek Horizon last week? Well, for the technology used at the time, it's actually on a par with that. Not better, no, and I wouldn't expect it to be, but it's just as well done, if not as professionally. And it's clear they made great use of the extras in this production, with crew members working in the background and even reacting to relevant scenes. That is one special level of attention to detail you wouldn't expect from a fan film normally, which is why I am actually quite hesitant to refer to Star Trek in the Pirkinning as a fan film. But it is. There's no real getting around that, no matter what it eventually evolved to be, what it is to be in further development in the future into the Star Trek franchise as well. The blue screening is almost seamless, but not so much as not to notice it's there from time to time. If not for the effort put in by the actors and the extras to make the illusion work, you really wouldn't notice. It's more than a level of passing on a visual scale. And to say that Star Trek fan films that followed it were not just as inspired by this film's effects, I think would be a pretty big deception on their part. Of course, you can't judge a film on its effects alone, and with the story providing great comedy and a fair bit of logic to it, the film actually holds pretty much well in its own merits. So well, in fact, its inspired reception was so well received it got 150,000 downloads in its first week alone from its website, with a further 300,000 from other websites. And this was long before data streaming or even YouTube itself became a big thing on the internet. Star Trek in the Pirkinning is available in two formats. The free version, from which holds the original Star Trek Babylon 5 bottles and backgrounds, and the Imperial Edition, which is actually available on DVD and available in America too. And it's actually well worth the buy, especially for the new, more original models they use to avoid copyright infringement. Not surprisingly, the success of this film would inspire Samuel L. Jackson onto bigger and more ambitious work, bringing us Iron Sky, a sci-fi dramedy with its normal quirky European twist that makes foreign films so much more interesting than anything brought out from Hollywood these days. With a sequel to Iron Sky now in production, Sam isn't too far away from bringing yet another chapter to the Star Trek universe. And you wouldn't have thought it possible, what with where the film ends and the CBS Paramount guidelines now in play. But then, as I said before, Star Trek is its own entity now, and no matter where it came from, it's bound to push itself outside of its parody beginnings, or in this case, Pirkinnings, and bring something fresh and imaginative to the table. And considering how good this film was, I'm actually looking forward to finding out. Well, we got one more week before Star Trek Discovery, and Star Trek month comes to an end. That means we've got one more Star Trek film to review, or in this case, a series of fan films that is more introspective into character rather than in its adventure. The Maynard Saga. Until next time, ciao.